It has often been quoted to me, we should love our enemies, and by that they mean we should love everyone and be kind and say nothing that might offend them or hurt them, and cover their sins and behaviour, for none of us are perfect. That this is good Christian behaviour, to which I now give an answer. We are personally called to love all people, for all people are made in the image of God. We are not called to love what they do, love what they say, or what they believe. We are not called to suffer bad behaviour, immoral conduct, love bad manners, or false religious teaching. Love would be to enlighten them as to the right way, and so teach the gospel of Christ to them. Love is a personal directive, something that we must do. In connection with this, I have been repeatedly asked about the woman taken in adultery. It is suggested or inferred that I should not point out the sins of men, for that is not loving. As true, I am a sinner and have sinned. That if I do point out sinful behaviour and immoral conduct, then I am like the Pharisees who wanted to stone the woman to death who was taken in adultery. It is said, I should or we should not judge. So here is my response, and I welcome your feedback. The Pharisees wished to find fault with Jesus and trip him up and reject him as the Messiah. They hated him. If he were to deny the law of Moses and its rule, they could put him to death. So they asked him about the woman caught in adultery. They said, Moses says she should be stoned to death. What do you say? Jesus wrote on the ground with his finger. Now remember, the law was written by the finger of God on 2 tablets of stone under Moses. So I wonder if this suggested anything. Also remember, the first generation of Jewish fathers broke the law as soon as it was given. None were righteous, all sinned, and the law was rewritten again, which was an act of grace and mercy to them. So Jesus simply said, He that is without sin, let him cast the first stone. He did not deny the law or deny its penalty, but left those who accused her to make up their minds. Note, the eldest went away first, and then finally the younger of the zealous religious men. Jesus' words exposed them. The elder was more wise than the younger. When they had all left, he asked the woman, where were her accusers? And she replied, there were none there to condemn her. Jesus replied, neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. He was able to forgive her sin and cover her sin, as only God can do, as he did with this woman. Jesus did not destroy the law, but upheld the law and made it honourable. The law had a function, and it served its purpose. He did not cover up the fact of her sin, but told her to sin no more. When we have to deal with sinners, those who commit such things and live habitually with acts of fornication, adultery, homosexuality, lying, cheating, stealing, and other immoral acts, we cannot act or suggest their behaviour is quite okay and excusable, and that God is not concerned. They are, as with this woman, under the law, condemned by the law as taught in the gospel. And so, in our day, all who commit sins such as I've mentioned, are under the condemnation of God for their breach of the moral principles of the law of Moses, reflected in the law of Christ. We who are Christian cannot throw stones, and I never do, or have ever done, like I'm accused of doing. I'm accused and judged of wrongdoing for saying certain behaviour is wrong, which is in fact a judgment made against me, contrary to their rule which says you should not judge. The fact is, I am not without sin. So being not without sin, I am able to have empathy with those under the bondage of such sins, and not personally condemn them, for they are already under condemnation for their sins and breach of the law of Christ. When I say adultery is wrong, fornication is wrong, stealing is wrong, gay behaviour is wrong, same-sex marriage is wrong, I'm not condemning anyone personally, but faithfully warning others as to their condemnation that they are under. Also, able to remind them that I too was once under the same condemnation, but through the grace of God and the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ are being forgiven and declared just, a teaching that the gospel of Christ teaches, and so should we.